Winners Win podcast. Your boy Lil Soul 2.0, the copycat himself. And today we're talking about the 8 assets that you can put into your security peace of mind bucket. Now, I'm going to explain what that is in a little bit, what the peace of mind bucket is and all the stuff like that and what I'm talking about. But before I get into that, we got to do some housekeeping things. Please subscribe to this channel below, the Winners Win podcast. Like this video, share it, comment below what you think the security peace of mind assets are for your bucket, or what you want it to be. If you listen to this on any type of podcast, put a review, 5-star review, and then of course leave a review as well. But anyway, though, so before we get into that, you guys know I like to do little recaps, everything that's pretty much going on. Everything's going great, honestly. I was finally able today to get on my first pod match guest list, I guess. And I ended up being, my first one being on the number one, or the 2022's most influential podcast. I was able to be on there. And that felt amazing to me. And to be able to speak my story, and then someone telling me, you're definitely going to do great things and things of the sort, does nothing but motivate me, honestly. Being able to get out there and actually see that my work is starting to come together and able to add some type of value to everything that I'm doing is just amazing, honestly. So it felt good to talk about that stuff, talk about my podcast. He asked me some amazing questions as well. So make sure you go out there and check the Dead America podcast. I will literally be a special guest on there. So definitely go check that podcast out. That will be fun. It's definitely something to definitely look into. Now, when I was on this show as well, we were talking about plenty of great things, like, my story, not a whole bunch about my story, but some about my story, some tips I gave as far as, anybody my age feeling like that they're being stuck, right? They feel unhappy, depressed. They feel like, quote unquote, what we call a loser, right? I gave them some tips in order for them to start winning, but also feel like they start winning, because it all starts up here. 80% of the battle is mindset, 20% of it is skill. And I talked about that before. So 80% of it has to be your mindset and how you can actually continue to grow that. And then the other 20% is going to be skill and, the mechanics of whatever it is that you do. Now, that's why this is going to be pretty important, when you go check out that podcast and stuff like that. And, it's also good to connect with people who has such a high impact and is just so amazing. It really is. So I thought that was pretty exciting to do as well. Now, anyway, from a physical standpoint today, I actually I hooped today, Sunday. Finally, I get to play games in a little bit. I was a little homework from yesterday, but I started to get into the groove a little bit. Now, I only hit 1 or 2 jumpers, but really it was a time to start working on stuff. I started working on my little pull-up jumper. I started, doing nice little cut into the basket, because at first I wasn't really, first game wasn't really playing as hard, and we were losing, and I wasn't doing good. And then I started to actually play hard, and when I started to actually play hard, we started to win, and I'm like, wow, so this is all it is, just playing hard. Now, it was actually a coach talking, right? He was speaking about what separates a great player from a good player. He said good players and great players are things they have in common. They both have all the skills. They could do the little step back jumpers. They can have the craziest handle in the world. They can play some, well, not all of them can play good defense, but they can put the ball in the basket though, right? But the difference between a good player and a great player is the great player never gets tired. And that's something that I did today. Like today, when we were losing, I was like, all right, really took over. Like the first game, that I played, I just kind of chilled. Second game, I kind of sat back too as well. We lost. And then I got back on. I was like, you know what? I need to just play harder. That's also about playing as hard as possible. When I started playing hard, we started winning. I started getting stops on defense, and then on offense, doing nice little pull-up jumpers, attacking the basket, finishing at the rim. And I just started to feel like myself out there and working on some of the stuff that I work on when I get shots up throughout the week with my brother. So it really felt good to actually get that work in today. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, I really felt good. First day of the year, and I already feel myself getting into basically coming into rare form, right, and going to that form that I need to get into. So that was very exciting today as far as my the physical setbacks or the physical steps I took. But I'm going to talk today about the 8 assets that go into your security and peace of mind bucket. Now, I'm going to talk about what your peace of mind bucket is. Your security or peace of mind bucket is a place you want to put your money that you know has little risk, but you know that with little risk has little return. So these are some different places where you can set your money aside that you know that it may not, there's like a really rare chance that you'll lose it all, but you also won't be growing, it won't be growing as much as possible. And you won't be getting that fulfillment, to become a millionaire quicker though, right? And you should always have, so there's 2 different buckets. There's the risk growth one and then the security peace of mind one. You should have some diversification between the two and have some in security bucket and some in your risk growth bucket. But like I said, I'm gonna talk about risk growth bucket in probably the next episode, but this episode is definitely about the security peace of mind. So first is the cash or cash equivalent, which means that actually physically having your cash like stacked under your bed, placed somewhere secret in your room, binder, whatever you got to do, right? Actually having cash is a low, security peace of mind bucket, because the cash is not going nowhere unless someone robs you, unless an earthquake happens and destroys your house and you lose all the money inside. Like, it's really rare that you're going to actually lose that cash equivalent now. But if you have cash physically out, obviously it has a 0% return, because it's not going to just grow just sitting there. Now, if you have it in a bank account, same thing. It literally grow by, I think it's 0.02% or 0.2%, barely going to grow over the year. And then next is bonds. Now, bonds, they increase in value as interest goes down and vice versa. We're going to talk a little bit more about bonds because there's so many different types of them. And honestly, I'm starting to kind of get them a little bit. But they're still not fully understood by me. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a bond kind of like is like and I got it here in my notes somewhere. I know I have it somewhere in my notes. Okay, so a bond pretty much is like someone needs money for their business, and you could put your money with a bond and they can also use that money, but it also, bond goes with how inflation goes as well. 3 is CDs, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm not completely familiar with that. 4th is your home. Your home is also low security, peace of mind. 5th is your pension. 6th is annuities, which I probably should do a lot more research on these things. 7th is having a life insurance policy. Now I'm going to talk about this one because a life insurance policy basically assures that when you pass away, the people in your family or whoever is with your policy actually gets paid out if something like that happens. Now, but the thing about that too as well is, I've actually, with reading the book, I heard there's a life insurance policy that you can actually take out where you're actually getting a real life monthly income from it as well. So I'm going to do the research and then figure that one out for you guys, but definitely should have a life insurance policy. And then 8 is structured notes, which I talked about that before, but I'm still not completely understanding of it. And I know I apologize because I wasn't able to give you guys too much information when it came to these 8 different assets that go into your security peace of mind bucket. But I just wanted to, put them out there as well. And the only reason I can is because I only have 1 in 7, life insurance policy and a cash and cash equivalent. Now I'm going to start diversifying my portfolio a little bit more. And then, of course, as I'm doing that, I'll be keeping you guys updated because you'll be able to see it in real life and not just know I'm talking about it, but I'm also being about it as well. But that's really all I have for you guys today. Comment below which ones do you have, cash equivalents, bonds, CDs, home, pension, annuities, life insurance policy, or structured notes, or maybe you have all 8. Again, subscribe to this channel, Winners Win Podcast. Keep killing the day. Remember, you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.